Hey guys, what's up? It is Megan and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe if you would like, and after you watch, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let's get right into it. Today, I'm going to be talking about my first major manic episode that happened in 2017. Since I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2017, I have had two very severe manic episodes, but I want to talk about them in chronological order. So I'm going to go back to 2017. And this is a very long, intense story. So I'm gonna break it up into a couple of different videos, hopefully 3, maybe 4 videos, hopefully 3. Shorter videos so that you don't get bored with like an hour-long video. Okay, so first let's talk about what a manic episode is. So a manic episode occurs when someone has bipolar. There's depressive episodes and manic episodes, and then hopefully periods of stability. So a manic episode is basically when a person acts completely out of their normal character. They can have psychosis, delirium, see things that aren't there, make terrible choices. Another symptom is something called pressured speech. I didn't understand what this was. I first learned what it was when I was in the psych ward, and the psychiatrist that was working with me in there kept saying that I had pressured speech, and that's why I had to stay in there longer. And I remember being like, bitch, this is just how I talk. I don't know what in the fuck you're talking about, but apparently it's a thing. Basically, I find when I have pressured speech, it's because my brain is moving so fast that my mouth can't keep up with how fast my thoughts are going in my brain. Yeah, I hope that in my last video you have learned that you should educate yourself on mental illness. So there's lots of information out there about a bipolar manic episode, but it occurs in everyone differently. But my manic episode was extra intense because I was misdiagnosed, like I talked about in my last video, and I was placed on an SSRI antidepressant, Lexapro, which if you have bipolar disorder is extremely dangerous to take because SSRI antidepressants can induce a manic episode or make a manic episode much worse than what it would be without that medication in your system. Okay, so to recap, I started taking Lexapro on October 31st, 2016. It kicked in 8 weeks later, which was my 30th birthday. And I remember a couple of days before my 30th birthday, I went in to see my psych nurse practitioner for a checkup, and I asked her, you know, is it okay if I have a drink on my 30th birthday? And she basically said, yeah, I mean, I think that's okay, you know, don't go overboard or anything like that, but, you know, plenty of people, you know, consume alcohol on their antidepressants, you just have to be careful. And so I kind of took that information and ran with it. I didn't intend to not listen to her and exceed the limits of what she told me was okay. This Lexapro started like kicking in my system. 6 weeks after I started taking it, like early December of 2016, I started being like, all right, I'm starting to feel better. You know, I'm starting to feel like myself again. I'm starting to feel like I want to socialize and contact people and things of that nature. So my birthday, my 30th birthday, I just like was hoping all along, like I just want to feel good by my 30th birthday. So that was the case. I felt good. My psych nurse practitioner kind of gave me the green light to have a couple drinks on my birthday. And from there, I was off to the races. So next comes January of 2017. And like I had mentioned, I took a leave of absence from work for about, I think it was like 6 weeks, and immediately going into January, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work. And that's because I was starting to become manic. When you're manic, you just have so much energy, you're so creative, you just go. And I specifically remember my family being like, whoa, like pump the brakes, like you should, just because you're like starting to feel better doesn't mean you should like immediately go back to work. But I was like, no, like I'm ready to go. Like, don't tell me what to do, I'm ready. So I went back to work, and if I recall, January of 2017, everyone was just kind of like grateful that I was feeling better. No one really started noticing anything yet because the norm is kind of to be like energetic and bubbly and work really hard. And, you know, I've always kind of been a party girl, and people just thought that my behavior in January was, you know, like pretty normal. People were just like, wow, like that's good that she's feeling better. And if I was like on occasion like drinking a little too much, I think people kind of cut me a break because I was sick for so long, and they're like, well, you know, at least she's living again. And I don't think people judged me too hard or thought too much of it in January. But as February of 2017 approached, I started ramping up even more. My experience personally, when I'm manic, I have no filter. Anything that comes to my mind, I will say it. And I can tend to be very combative and hostile. I will say that I am actually cool as fuck when I'm manic, if you're cool with me. Basically, if you oppose anything that I'm doing or have anything to say against what I'm doing, then I'm extremely combative, extremely rude. I will get very defensive, and that has gotten me into a lot of trouble in the past. Things really started taking off in early February. I invited 2 of my friends to my parents' house on the other side of the mountains to go wine tasting for our birthdays. We went on this trip and we all drank a lot, and I remember in my head I thought that we were having so much fun, and come to find out these 2 women thought that my behavior was very not normal for my character. They were becoming very concerned with me, and they expressed that to me when I came back from that trip. I remember on that trip, I was doing a whole bunch of Snapchats and a whole bunch of Instagram posts, you know, like all drunk and shit, and people were seeing that. And I think that's when people first started becoming concerned, because I was so depressed for so long. And then now all of a sudden I'm like Miss Party Girl USA, like posting all this drunk posts all over the internet, and people were kind of like, From my perspective, I didn't understand. I'm like, dude, who cares? Like, I'm 30 years old, I'm not drinking and driving, I'm having a good time, like, mind your own business. People in my social circle around me and people in general drink a lot and act a fool. So I'm like, dude, like, cut me a break. I was laying in bed for like 6 months. Now I'm out and about, happy, doing my thing, and you're trying to like kill my vibe. And then it kind of turned into people were contacting my husband and telling him behind my back that they were concerned about my behavior, which really pissed me off. There's this whole like thing where my husband would come to me and be like, so-and-so and so-and-so are saying this and they're concerned about you and da-da-da-da-da. And then those friends or acquaintances are telling me that my husband is calling them saying, I'm worried about Megan, like what's going on with her. And so I just felt like everyone was talking shit about me behind my back, and it was really, really pissing me off, because again, like, I didn't even know I had bipolar disorder. I didn't know I was manic. I didn't even know what mania was. So from my perspective, I'm just like, everyone, like, get off me. Like, mind your own business. Like, stop contacting my husband. Stop telling me you're worried about me. Stop telling me you're concerned about me. It's really annoying. During this time period, some of my friends started like ignoring me. We got into a couple of little tiffs, me and these particular women, because it was like they were calling me, telling me they're concerned, and I'm like, yo, like, you get trashed and drink wine like every night. So, you know, so we would get into an argument about it where they were coming from a place of concern, but I would just flip it right back on them. That didn't go over very well. So these people started like slowly ignoring me, and at the same time, I had my family texting me very aggressively and telling me that I'm fucking up my life, I'm embarrassing myself, what the fuck am I doing, drinking so much, just very like aggressively coming at me. And then I have my husband aggressively coming at me. So it's like all angles are people coming at me, and I'm not blaming them. Right now I'm just telling the story of what happened from my perspective. Everyone was very concerned about me, and I completely understand that now, but I'm just trying to get people to understand like where I was at that time, so that it makes sense to anyone that maybe watches this video that knows me, that saw things on the outside looking in so that they can get insight into. I would say very rude, snide comments, and I would hurt people's feelings. I had word vomit. I feel bad about that, but whatever, I've apologized and we're all moved on from that, but just saying. Because of all of this anger that was building up inside of me, that's when my hostile social media posts started coming about. February, things continued to ramp up, and then going into March, things continued to ramp up. I remember March is when I started doing cocaine. And to be honest with you, in my experience, my manic episode, like during that time, it was all a blur. It was all a blur. I was so stressed out, and another educational information piece is that stress makes mania worse, rebellious, and then one day, I just got it in my head that I wanted to do cocaine. I had experimented with cocaine when I was younger, in like my early 20s, but I hadn't done it since I was maybe like 22 or 23. And one day I was just like trying to get some cocaine. She was like an acquaintance of mine, and I asked her if she knew anyone that had it, and she says, yeah, I have a dealer. And so I met her dealer, and him and I became cool, and then I got to the point where I didn't need her to get my cocaine for me. I just like went directly to him. When I started doing cocaine, things went to another level. Cocaine obviously is gonna make mania like way worse on another level. You know, so I have these antidepressants in my system. I'm already manic as fuck, and then you add cocaine to that mix and alcohol. It's just a recipe for absolute disaster, and that's exactly what it was. The whole time I was working, and I had my own hair salon business, and surprisingly, a lot of people still really wanted to get their hair done by me during this time period, because when I was manic, I was actually doing bomb-ass hair. Mania makes you very creative, and it makes you be able to get things done very fast, very efficiently. And so I was making a ton of money, which someone that is manic, that has access to a lot of money, is also very dangerous. Because I'm self-employed, there's no rules, right? Unless the rules I make. So I started drinking at work and doing cocaine on the job, like on my lunch break, in between clients. And maybe people noticed, maybe they didn't. I mean, it didn't stop them from getting their hair done by me. No one was like, oh, I can't have you do my hair, like, didn't say anything. And they would drink with me. For the years, you know, clients would text me occasionally and be like, oh, like, can I bring some wine to my hair appointment? And it had never been a problem or gotten out of control. But with my manic episode, you know, I would like text my client and be like, hey, like, can you bring something to drink for your appointment? And I would just like get lit while I'm doing people's hair. In late February or early March of 2017, I got this idea to do a grand reopening party because my salon did get renovated. And I launched this new shampoo line. Like, you know, when you're manic, you just want to take on so much stuff and you just like can't stop. Another thing I forgot to mention is that my grandpa passed away in February of 2017, another stressor that really got the best of me. Things are just like spiraling out of control. Like, my grandpa dies, like everyone's mad at me all the time, everyone's attacking me all the time, arguing with my husband all the time. Things are just out of control. So I have this party like right after my grandpa dies, and of course, like, I want to have alcohol there and everything like that. So I invite like tons of people. I get a whole bunch of alcohol, a whole bunch of food, and I have this party at my salon. And to be honest, like, I had a lot of fun. I was drinking the whole time, I was socializing the whole time, but a lot of people really disappointed in my behavior. My husband was there the whole time, and he was just shaking his head, rolling his eyes the whole time. Like, he was so pissed off at me that I was drinking so much. Apparently, I said some rude things to some of the guests that came to the party. A lot of the tenants in the salon studios at my work, so it's like, imagine an apartment building and then you have neighbors. That's how it was with my business. It's like it's like a building with a bunch of rooms, all hair salons. And so the doors were open, and all these people are, you know, hearing my conversations, listening to the music I'm playing, see the alcohol flowing, and people are getting pissed. But again, like, it annoyed me because none of those people said anything to me. And actually, I did ask my landlords at the salon if I could have this party. I had an alcohol permit. I did everything legit. So, and they said yeah. So there was nothing that really anyone could say other than they just like didn't agree with my behavior. People were being really like hard on me and really mean to me, which like I'm not excusing my behavior. I know I was a huge pain in the ass and a drunk son of a bitch, but like everyone was just like so rude about it, and like people didn't talk to me about it. They like went to my landlords and like tattletaled on me. And this woman that I shared my salon with called me the day after my event and told me that everyone at the studios was talking shit about me. I heard that girls were saying that I had schizophrenia, and I was super pissed off about that. I decided to keep that to myself, and the salon studios had this like group Facebook page, and I wrote on the Facebook page once I found out that everyone was talking bad about me. You know, I told my whole story, like, yo, I took all this time off work, I almost killed myself, I had this party to celebrate me coming back, and like, woo, like, sorry I drank too much, but like, you guys are assholes for talking so much shit about me. Like, you have no idea what I've been through. Like, none of you even really know me that well. You all are immature for going to our landlord and telling them on me instead of coming to me that day and asking me to like keep my voice down or approach me like an adult. I've mentioned in other videos that my husband and I have struggled with infertility issues, and so Roman means so much to me. He is like my child because my husband and I have been trying to get pregnant for so long and we haven't been able to get pregnant. So when we got Roman as a puppy, like he is literally my baby. Plus like he saved my life as far as like killing myself. So I decided to have a first birthday for him, and I made it a huge deal. I like created this Facebook event and invited everyone I knew and was like, come to my house and celebrate Roman's first birthday, like as if he's like a human baby. Like I made it a huge deal. Like it meant so much to me. And all these people confirmed that like they were gonna come. And the day before I'm supposed to have this party for Roman, I go to work, and mind you, I had been doing cocaine like very regularly, like probably every day, probably drinking every day, if not every other day. So I'm like losing it. And I go to work, and it was a Friday, and on Fridays I worked from like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on. And my first client, I just like broke down and started crying. I was like, I can't do your hair. And she was super understanding. And then my next client, I ended up doing her hair, and I had my door open, and so I'm doing my client's hair, and I hated leaving my door open at the salon studios because it's like, you know, people get their hair done, they want to talk about private things, and they don't want like the whole world hearing your conversation. But I had this problem in my salon for years about the temperature being too hot, and over the last 6 years that I worked there, I had always talked to my landlords about the temperature in my room is too hot. And it was March at this point, and I was just super frustrated because I had talked to them about this for so long, and my landlords always like made excuses like, oh, well, like they would always talk about their expenses and their bills, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your expenses. All I know is that my salon's too hot and you need to like do something about it. So I had a woman sitting in my chair who's pregnant, who has diabetes. She's like overheating, and she's complaining to me while I'm doing her hair. My landlord comes to my door. She's like leaning on my door, and she's like just making excuses about how she can't do anything about the room being too hot. And I just like saw red, and I basically was just like, you know what? Like, I'm sick and tired of you making excuses. You're a landlord. I pay my rent on time. This is your responsibility to fix this. Like, I'm sick and tired of this. I've been here for 6 years. This is always a problem. You guys always give me the runaround. And then this girl who I've always, by the way, not like, she's, in my opinion, a bitch. I knew that she was the one that was spreading rumors about me that I had schizophrenia, but I just decided when I found that out just to like let it go and not to deal with it. But as I'm talking to my landlord, and mind you, I'm in my room doing hair on my client, my landlord is in the doorway talking to me, and this girl puts her foot in my room, like she steps over the boundary of the doorway into my room, and she goes, shh. And I was like, excuse me? And I flipped out. I just went off. I was like, you know, you fucking bitch, like, I will kick your ass, like, meet me outside, slam the door. And she was just like, she started laughing. She's like, haha, like, you're crazy, which made me even more mad. And soon after that, my landlord basically evicted me and was like, you need to get out and you're done working here. And I like started hyperventilating and completely had like a full-blown panic attack. Getting evicted from my salon, like things were already ramping up and like building up into that point. But the day that my landlord, after 6 years of being a business owner, of having my business at that location, and all the hard work I put in and all the stress of everyone attacking me, like I just like completely lost it and was like hysterical. The next day was actually the birthday party that I planned for my dog. So no one came. Like a couple of people came. Like my really good friends at the time were really sweet, and like I told them what had happened with my work, and they went and got Roman balloons and a cake, which was really sweet. But no one really stayed for that long because I was a train wreck. My marriage is in the shit house. No one showed up to this party. Everyone was mad at me about the salon party I had and my behavior. Like I just felt like so misunderstood. Like no one likes me. No one understands what I'm going through. Let me just drink my feelings away. So everyone kind of leaves the birthday party for Roman, and my husband wasn't there. I told him he wasn't allowed to come because I had like kicked him out of our house at that point and told him to like kick rocks because I hated him, because every day he was like getting mad at me and talking to my friends behind my back about me. And I just like, at that point, I just could not stand my husband. And so he wasn't there and everyone had left. So I'm like at home by myself, drunk, completely out of my mind, lost my marbles, and I decide to write a Facebook post basically announcing to everyone that didn't come to Roman's birthday party, that said they were gonna come to his birthday party, that you're a piece of shit. And I wrote this long rant. How dare you say that you're gonna come to a party and then not even have the courtesy to text message someone and let them know you're not gonna make it? That's super rude. Like I bought all this food. I was expecting people to stop by, and it's so disrespectful and so mean. You know how much I've struggled with infertility issues. I made it very clear that this party was important to me, and thanks a lot, you know? And so then all these people started commenting, and a lot of people were really nice, but 2 people in particular wrote really, really rude comments on this post. And someone even said like, oh, thank God you don't have kids, you know, look at the way that you're behaving, or something like that, something really rude. And then a bunch of my hair clients who saw that post started attacking that person. And it was just like so much drama, like, you know, on this feed, like people are like standing up for me and like attacking this person in defense of me. And then another person jumped in talking bad about me. As time has passed, like I remember things that, I mean, it's just when you have a manic episode like this, like everything is just like such a blur. But I was under so much stress and just felt so misunderstood. Like no one had my back. At this point, I'm separated from my husband. A bunch of my friends have like cut me off, blocked my number, deleted me on social media. I just feel so abandoned. My mom and my dad, I'm not getting along with them. They wanted to have me committed, and you know, I should have been, and eventually I was, but from every angle, I'm just like losing my mind. And so one day I got this idea very shortly after that to get a garbage bag, pack it up full of a bunch of clothes, toilet paper, random things around my house. And nearby my house there's this area, and some parts are very ghetto, and there's a lot of homeless drug addict people that hang out in this particular area at the time. And so I got the idea to pack up a garbage bag full of shit and go down there and just start handing away stuff to homeless people. Because I'm like, I remember thinking, everyone's being mean to me, but I'm gonna be nice to other people, and I wanna meet new people because like no one in my life likes me. So I go down there and I just start kicking it with drug addict homeless people, and I'm just like, what's up? Like, I don't have any friends, let's be friends. And from that point forward, I was on the streets. So the next video, I'm gonna pick up where I left off from there. The first day that I went down to the area on this highway where all these drug addict homeless people were hanging out, and how I started being friends with them and interacting with them and making really terrible choices. So thank you guys for watching this first part of my manic episode video. I know it's a lot to follow, it's a lot of information because my manic episode lasted from January of 2017 until June of 2017. That's like, I didn't really start coming down from my manic episode until, you know, 6 months after it started, which is super dangerous. But again, I hadn't been diagnosed. No one really knew I had bipolar disorder. Everyone just thought I was acting like a fucking asshole, which I was, but I was sick. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video, which is going to be part 2 of my manic episode. Bye.